Welcome back. This is JE Live. I'm Jake Ellenbogen, and today we got plenty of news. We're getting closer to game time. Of course, it's Friday. The game is on Sunday in Nashville, and man, it is going to be hot. In case you didn't know, it is really going to be hot. We're talking over 90 degrees at kickoff, which is absolutely insane. So, we're going to be seeing that, but we got some news here. The Rams are going to have Kevin Dotson. Remember I said I thought that they would have them both, but they're not going to have them both. They're just going to have Kevin Dotson. Steve Avila, they will not have, which is kind of wild. It's surprising to say the least. Avila is the one that came back after the injury. He came back into the game, okay? When you had Kevin Dotson, he did not come back into the game. So a little surprising that Kevin Dotson is the one that's going to play this week. He's good to go. And Steve Avila, ankle is doubtful, which if you've been living under a rock, which, I'm not going to blame you if you have. Everyone has their preferences. Doubtful almost always means out. You might as well just replace doubtful with out, right? So that's the news there. Then we have Colby Parkinson dealing with his shoulder. He is also doubtful, aka out. So then Sean McVay was talking about Terrence Ferguson. According to Stu Jackson, possible absence could open up more opportunities for rookie tight end Terrence Ferguson on Sunday. McVay on his show this week said based on the type of game week one could be, felt like special teams was the best approach last week. I would agree with that to an extent. Quote, I thought he did a nice job with the things that he could control last week. He's had a couple good weeks of practice. McVay also said it depends on how the game unfolds. That team has different packages and personnel that they can activate. But, quote, Terrence is a guy that we want to be able to figure out where can we start to be able to allow him to be able, three ables there, to find his role and continue to grow. Here's the deal. Because you watch JE Live because I'm going to give you the news right away because this ain't clickbait. Going to give you the news at the beginning and then I'm going to give you my thoughts after. And then that's our show. I don't know how long we'll be live because I'm doing because you guys were asking for it. So I'm going to be doing a Q&A at 5. So it's going to be a separate live stream. It's going to be mailbag, JE mailbag, and you guys ask whatever you want. I want to be here to answer all the questions because I saw you guys were asking about the mailbag. This was my mistake. I went to a Falling in Reverse concert, and while I was waiting for something, whatever it was, I think it was I drove there, so I wasn't waiting for the drive. I don't know. For whatever reason, I was waiting for something, and I said, oh, why don't I just start a mailbag? And then forgot because the season hit, and then it got crazy, and so I apologize. So that said, we're going to do the Q&A mailbag. All you have to do is just type comments in. I will try and get to every single comment. And that's going to be at 5. So this live stream won't be that long. But the point being here is this. I'm going to be here. So now on to the topic at hand because people will be watching this back as a video. And I appreciate those that do. I appreciate those that are in here right now. Let's take a look at every bit of this. Also the Titans. I've already mentioned this. J.C. Latham is out, right? Actually, I don't think I mentioned it. I think I did a video on Bleacher Report, but I don't think I got around to doing one yesterday. J.C. Latham is out. They're stud right tackle for the Titans. They got some good interior guys, really good. Peter Skoronski had himself a banger of a game on all 22 going up against the Broncos. Really liked what I saw from him on tape. Lloyd Cushenberry wasn't as great in his return to Denver, which is where he came from, but at the same time, he's a really good player in this league, and so is Kevin Zeitler, their right guard, who, like I said, during the breakdown with Justin Mello, I said, look, I bet the Lions wish they kept him. So left tackle is going to be Dan Moore. Dan Moore is a liability. Make no mistake about it. Okay? He is a liability. I don't care what anyone tells you. I don't care what anyone tries to tell you. I don't care if anybody throws money in your face. Oh, yeah, he's getting paid $20 million a year. He shouldn't be. He should not be. Dan Moore against Jared Verse, make no mistake about it, is a huge mismatch. The only thing that could be more of a mismatch is what we're getting on the right side with J.C. Latham out, and that is Byron Young versus Oli Udoh. Udoh got absolutely baptized last week. He had to come in. To be fair, he didn't get a chance to play the whole week. Like, it wasn't like he was practicing and all that. No, Latham played, got hurt, came out of the game, and Udoh stepped in. So I think this is going to be a huge game for Byron Young. I do. I don't. Awesome. I don't think Udoh is really that great. I'll just be honest. He's not very good. I did interview him a while back, but I'm just, I'm a believer of just calling it like it is. Might offend some people, but I want you guys to be ready for the game. I want you guys to be ready for the weekend. I also want you guys to hit that damn like button because we only have 9 likes. We're over 100 people in here live right now. Let's go. Let's hit that thumbs up button, right? I'm just kidding. You guys can hit it if you want. It does help out the channel though. But yeah. So Oli Udoh is a huge mismatch, huge opportunity for BY off the edge. And then on the left side, Dan Moore, right? Gave up over, I think it was 40 plus pressures last year, 10 plus sacks with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then you have Jared Verse, who literally just, at this point, I mean, he made Teron Armstead retire, right? So there you go. Really good matchup between those guys. But on the flip side of that, Bo Limmer is going to replace Steve Avila this week at left guard. Dotson's back at right guard. So now Justin Diedick, I would imagine, we're probably going to get the news tomorrow that he's been elevated to the 53-man roster for game day. And he's going to be a healthy, he'll be a healthy, not inactive, but he'll be a bench guy. And should anybody go down, they'll have him. So I'd imagine that's what we're going to get that information tomorrow. That said, also more news for the Rams. And I'm a big believer in I want to play teams at their best. I want to play teams fully healthy, and I don't celebrate injuries. But I know it's newsworthy, and it's very newsworthy. T'Vondre Sweat has been ruled out. That is massive. Their nose tackle has been ruled out. I thought they did a really nice job, last week, kind of holding the Broncos in check with the run game. This defense also forced 6 turnovers if you count 2 turnover on downs, which you should count 2 turnover on downs. But not having T'Vondre Sweat is massive. You can actually run against this defensive line if Sweat is indeed out, which he is. So that's the thing. Latham's out, Sweat is out, and so the worry about Avila being out was, okay, well, they have T'Vondre Sweat. Well, now they don't have T'Vondre Sweat. They ruled him out about 30 minutes ago. Yes, Ruiz is on it right there. So, yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at here, right? And I think the big thing, guys, is that you still have to worry about Jeffrey Simmons. Make no mistake about it. We're not, skeeting past that fact. But at the same time, while you do have to worry about Jeffrey Simmons, this is a huge, huge, huge help to just be like, oh, yeah, we don't have to worry about Sweat anymore. And don't get me wrong, this is still a really good Titans defense. I am very high on this defense. I've made that very clear. I don't think this is going to be a walk in the park, but Shai Tuttle will be playing nose tackle. He's their backup. They have Sebastian Joseph Day. They have Jeffrey Simmons. Really, aside from that, though, those are the guys. So that's significant. Everybody else should play. I mean, L'Jarius Sneed, I know, was listed as questionable. Arden Key, but T'Vondre Sweat is out, and so is J.C. Latham, and those are key injuries. Those are big-time injuries. Quandre Diggs, Kevin Winston Jr., both are questionable. But big-time injury there to lose Sweat in the trenches and to lose your right tackle in Latham, who might actually be your best offensive lineman, period. That's not easy, right? So, yeah, that's what's kind of going on right now. But let's talk about it. You have Sweat out. You have Latham out. Are the Rams going to be able to run the football? I would say they are. Now, of course, we'll find out for sure on Sunday. But like not having Sweat in there, and I know Shy Tuttle is he's a nose tackle. Like he can replace him by like body, like he can be in there. But that's significant. You know? It really is. I mean, they got guys like Sebastian Joseph Day, don't get me wrong. They got guys like, Jihad Ward and James Lynch, and they played well against the run last week. There were 15 stops total in the run game, 3 of which came from Jarvis Brownlee Jr. He plays the run so well. He's what eliminates those big-time plays, those explosive runs. Jarvis Brownlee Jr., who is, I know he's a little banged up, but he should play. T'Vondre Sweat is a huge body in the trenches. That said, though, last week, Jihad Ward and James Lynch were actually their best run stoppers. A 25% run stop rate for Jihad Ward and a 22% run stop rate for James Lynch. Believe it or not, T'Vondre Sweat only had a 5.6, and Jeffrey Simmons only had an 8.7. Simmons did not grade out well by PFF as a run defender. So I think the Rams are going to try and establish the run early on. Now, as far as tight end, with Colby Parkinson out, do you get to see any Terrence Ferguson in this game? And while I think this game is going to be close or closer, it's Jeffrey Simmons, not Justin Simmons. Justin is the safety. That's who you're thinking of. So anyway, with the tight end position, the situation is this. Tyler Higbee did nothing last week offensively. As far as stat sheet. Davis Allen caught a touchdown, also dropped a wide open seam buster. And you got Terrence Ferguson. That's it. Those are your tight ends. Unless they want to add Mark Redmond to the roster, those are going to be the 3 tight ends if Parkinson can't go. And he is unlikely to go since he is listed as doubtful, which pretty much always means out. So that said, I do think we'll see Terrence Ferguson in this game. Why didn't we see Terrence Ferguson against the Texans? Because they're the Texans. I think the Rams are really trying to be cautious here. One, they're trying to manage Terrence Ferguson. They're aware, he missed 2 weeks, around 2 weeks, maybe more than 2 weeks of training camp. They want him to continue to develop. They want to use him on special teams. He played, a few special teams reps. But I agree with it. If they don't feel like he's ready, then he's not ready. But I think he is ready, and I think we're going to see him against the Titans. I do. The Texans, that game was way too close for comfort. You don't want to put a rookie out there and have him make a key mistake that costs you the game. However, in this one, not overlooking the Titans, and I'll tell you right now, nobody on the Rams is overlooking anybody. But this would be the game to probably play him. If they grab hold of a lead early on, I expect to see some Terrence Ferguson. I do. Their second round pick that they said they would have taken at 26 overall. I do. So, yeah, I think the Ferguson thing is real. I think Davis Allen could be sneaky in this game. And I just think when you look at the Titans, the job they did last week, again, forcing 6 turnovers, 2 of which were turnover on downs, against a really good Denver Broncos team. Look, their offense did not look good, and I get that, and some people are going to be out on them. But Bo Nix was really good last year. As much as I say that I'm not really high on him or whatever, I wasn't really high on him. Bo Nix looked good last year. You got to give him his props. That's a good offensive line, probably one of the better offensive line units in the league. And that's the thing for me, is that when you look at the Broncos offensive line, you got Ben Powers there, you got McGlinchey, right? You got Quinn Miners, you got Garrett Bowles, you got Wattenberg. Like, they got some really good players on the offensive line, and the Titans kind of made, bullied them a little bit. And on the flip side of that, like, Skoronski was great in pass pro. Dan Moore was not good at all. Lloyd Cushenberry struggled, right? So that's the thing. Like, looking at my notes, like, I watched number 77. You'll see him on the Titans. Left guard, Peter Skoronski was dominant. He kicked ass. I think he's going to be a stud. He already is a stud. I think he's going to be a star. As much of a star as you can be as an offensive lineman. Yeah, Zeitler, he looks good. Latham was also, he was banged up. He didn't look great, but we know what he can be. Udo was horrific, man. It was not good for Udo. And keep in mind, he only got in for 11 snaps. So that was not good for him. Dan Moore, not good. Like, Tony Pollard wasn't great in pass pro. The Rams have every opportunity. They should win this game. That said, I really do like the Titans' defense. I like what Denard Wilson is doing over there, and I would not assume anything. So I would assume victory. I would, but I wouldn't assume like a blowout because I know people are going to overlook this team and be surprised. Jeffrey Simmons gave the Rams fits his last time he saw them at SoFi during the Super Bowl season. And furthermore, Matthew Stafford has never beaten the Titans. I don't know why, but that's a little weird. Zaylor Swift, thank you for the 5. Steve A stays hurt, man. He, the new Noteboom, going to need big plays on Sunday, Ferguson. Appreciate the super. Yeah, this is an interesting one. I do want to touch on this a little bit. Steve Avila has missed 8 games so far. This will be his 9th game he's missed as a Ram. He played every single game his rookie year. Every single one. So, I guess my question is, I want to ask you guys, are you concerned by him missing 9 games the last 2 years and not even a full 2 years? I mean, we're talking, 9 of 19 regular season, 9 of 18 regular season games. Are you concerned by that? Do you think it's just a fluke? Do you think like this is concerning? Where are you, chat? Because for me personally, I like Avila a lot. Here's my deal. There's a lot of guys that they're going to have to pay. A lot. And that's the concerning thing. See, the NFL doesn't really help you. If you draft well, they penalize the hell out of you for doing so. Congrats. You get compensatory picks, limited to 5. So you have to basically sign the right guys because there's a cap. This isn't like the 49ers in the 90s. So because there's a cap, you might be in a tough spot where you can't sign Avila. That's the thing that's scary to me. Because you're going to have to sign, think about this. Avila, Byron Young, Jared Verse, Puka Nacua, Quentin Lake, Cam Curl, Nate Landman, Akello Witherspoon, Kobe Durant. These are all guys that are going to have to get contract extensions soon because of performance, or their contracts expiring this year or next year. Kobe Turner, guys, there's a lot of players they're going to have to decide between. And they're only going to be able to sign 3 or 4 of them. Tops. Jared Verse and Puka Nacua are going to be a gigantic penny. They're going to have to figure that one out. Jared Verse and Nacua could both end up getting around $40-50 million a year. So how does that look? How do you pay those guys and keep everyone else? And that's the thing. Avila being a guard, I think he's less likely to be kept. I think at one point or another they were saving room for him. But now I don't know with the injuries. I'm rooting for him. If he were to see this or anything, I would hope he would know straight up, I like the guy. I'm rooting for him. I'm just concerned. It's my job. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys. I'm genuinely concerned for Steve Avila. So this is a great super chat. It was already on my mind. Is he the new Nopum? I guess we'll find out, but appreciate you. And Quintana, just great content, Jake. Hey, appreciate that. I'm trying, man. Trying. You know? I like going live, though. You guys know that. I like going live more than just doing videos. Not saying I'll never do a video again, but, obviously I will. But I like going live. Zaylor Swift, thank you for the 5. A big man with injury problems in his early years. Hell nah. Let's get Quentin Nelson. You guys are funny. I don't know if it's that simple, but I get what you're saying for sure. Yeah, it's not going to be easy to pay everybody. It's just not. We try to be real here on the channel. Some people don't like it. It is what it is. I'm not saying to get rid of Avila, so please do not assume that. But I think it is important to realize that, yeah, he has to stay healthy at some point because there are already slim pickings behind these guys. And by the way, Avila was great in pass pro. So it's not that, and obviously he was good in the run game. So it's not anything like, oh no, like Avila's not good. No. He's a very good player. And he's clearly better than Jonah Jackson. Okay, so it's a significant upgrade from last year. I'm just concerned, guys, because it's like if he keeps getting hurt, he keeps missing games, they're not going to sign him. And I'm not going to blame them. Bo Limmer is probably, outside of Dotson, the best run blocker on this team. Dotson Havenstein. He's phenomenal. When you watch the film, Bo Limmer is a phenomenal run blocker. But as a pass protector, he's got a long way to go. A long way to go. So, yeah, that's something that I'm looking at there. I figured we'd talk about Steve Avila. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. It sucks that he's out. We'll see if he comes back for the Eagles game. That could very well be the plan. Yes, but he's hurt 40% of the time. Appreciate you, Zaylor. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree. You have to make these tough decisions, and I think I've been hardened to the fact they've moved on from Cooper Kupp. They've moved on from Robert Woods and Brandon Cooks and Todd Gurley and James Laurinaitis and Chris Long, that, like, after you see them move on from guys like that, you're not really surprised. You know what I mean? They can move on from anybody. Hell, I remember like it was yesterday, I think it was Jeff Darlington on ESPN, and nothing against him personally, but he was saying how there's like no way they're going to be able to move off of Jared Goff. They're not going to be able to trade that contract. And sure enough, they trade him like a week later. Do you guys remember that? When everyone's like, oh, Rams can't get out of this one. They're stuck. And then they got out of it pretty easily and got Matthew Stafford and won a Super Bowl. Yeah, I remember that. But yeah. I mean, I had people reach out to me and say that they agreed with my take on that the Rams should not play Dotson or Dotson or Avila. Let them get 100% and go with Dedick and Bo Limmer. I still think that's probably what they should do. That Eagles game, not to put too much pressure on him, but that Eagles game next week, that Eagles game could decide the NFC. Like, that Eagles game in week 3 could decide who gets the number 1 seed already. So it's huge. I'm not saying it's guaranteed. The Packers looked really good last night. Keyshawn Nixon looks like a number 1 corner. They look like they've absolutely hit a home run. But that said, if it's not the Packers, it's probably going to be the Rams or Eagles. If you look on paper, if you look at who the best teams in this league are, Rams and Eagles have 2 of the best rosters in football. They're very likely to be in a collision course and see each other in the playoffs. So yeah, And Falk the Whiners is saying, play Humphreys. F it. I don't know about that one. I like Humphreys, but man, you got to at least try and win. See, that's the thing. They're not overlooking anybody. They're not going to do it. They're not taking him out. And I wouldn't just do it just to make sure these guys are healthy against the Eagles. I would do it because there's an injury. Like a previous injury with Avila and Dotson that they're coming back from. Like, that's why I wouldn't play either. But we know we won't see Avila. Wildman Samurai, thank you for the 5. Our offensive line is my only concern moving forward. Do we need to bring in someone else? Interesting. It's funny. I thought that they had some crazy depth, right? And it felt that way. And then all of a sudden, Willie Lampkin's gone just like that, and they trade away KT Leveston. So when you trade away those KT Leveston and you lose, you lose Lampkin, it's like it hits you really quickly. Like, you have a lot of depth at tackle. Because let's be honest here, the Rams have a lot of depth at tackle. They got Alaric, they got Havenstein, they got Humphreys, they got Quessenberry, they got Wyatt Bowles, they got Warren McClendon Jr., A.J.R. Curry. Maybe that last one shouldn't have been mentioned, but they got guys. I think Bowles I would play probably at guard, but he can play tackle. But in the interior, that's the thing. That's the concern. So with this injury, we'll see what ends up happening. Avila did come back into this game, keep in mind. So I'm not trying to write off him staying off IR. But let's say they put him on IR. What would the Rams do? I would have to imagine at the deadline, this could be a team that trades for a guard, trades for a center, somebody like that. I wouldn't be surprised. Where else on the roster are they going to upgrade? Corner, they're good. Safety, they're good. Linebackers, they're good. Edge defenders, I think they're good, man. I mean, if you want to add one more guy, fine. I will say Nick Hampton made this team for a reason. It's because he's great on special teams. So I don't think they plan on letting him go. Interior defensive line, absolutely loaded. Probably the most loaded a defensive line has been in quite some time. Since the Super Bowl season in 2018. With Sue and Donald and Ashawn. Oh, no, Ashawn was the Super Bowl. Never mind. Anyway, you get my point. There's not too many things the Rams can do to improve this roster because they don't have that many holes. I feel like offensive line, tight end, as weird as that sounds, are really the only ones. Maybe a wide receiver, and like their wide receiver room is so stacked, it would just because teams get wide receivers when they like to go all in. But they don't need one. They don't need one. They're good. Brockers, Fowler Jr. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Bowser. John Franklin Myers. Yeah. Nope, that was exactly. So, anyway, I'm liking the way the Rams look right now. I have some concerns about Avila, but everything else aside, they have a serious advantage against the Titans, which, of course, if you haven't already, be sure to get in on the action over at Sleeper, because you can sign up using my code JKB and get a $100 match on your first deposit. And I mean, it's awesome. You know, touchdowns, receiving yards, rushing yards, passing yards. If you're always the type of person that's just shouting out certain things that are going to happen, if you're the person that's like, yeah, Byron Young's going to have 2 sacks in this game, well, go ahead and put your money where your mouth is, right? So you can check out today's sponsor, Sleeper, in the description below. Again, JKB, $100 match on your first deposit. It's really that simple. They also do fantasy football. They do fantasy everything. I got my Dynasty League on there for football. I got my Dynasty League on there for NBA. Like, that's how it is, man. So be sure to check out Sleeper. All right, guys. So that's going to do it for this. Now, hang tough at 5, so about 30 or so minutes from now. I'm going to go live. Bring your questions, and we are going to do a mailbag. We're going to do a live mailbag. Instead of me going through, having to edit, and do all the mailbag questions. No. We're going to do a live mailbag. So have your questions ready and prepared. I'm going to try and read every single question. And we got DTR at 8. So the channel is loaded with content tonight. Hopefully you guys can make some of it. If you can't, of course, it's always there for later. But appreciate you guys. As always, I'm Jake Ellenbogen. I'm signing off. Follow me on social media at JKBogan. Check out today's sponsor, Sleeper. And I'll see you guys in the next video, whether it's the one in 30 minutes, the one, for DTR, or maybe it's this Sunday after the Rams hopefully win against the Titans. But until next time, you guys take care. Later, folks.